What up, though? Welcome back to Woodward Heavyweights live on WoodSports.com. I'm Easy, joined by Spinmo Rex, Young Chris, Nicholas Koloff, Skywalker in the building. We're also joined by the only man on the beat who could beat the heat today. I saw a lot of those beat writers.
That's true.
Posted up in the stands.
In the shade, chilling in the shade.
Yeah, in the shade, watching from afar. That all 22. I heard the excuses. Not the doc.
No.
Boots on the ground. Eyes on the man meat going on in the field. What's going on, Doc? How hot was it out there? Were you tempted to go up there or what?
Absolutely not. The doc is gritty. I want to bring you guys the best footage from the field, not from the stands. That was pretty weak, I think. And what's crazy is the Lions have the right to take footage of you doing that. There's no way you're going to catch me in the stands during practice. I want to be as close as possible to bring you guys as much information. All you guys got to know is Doc is gritty, baby.
Doc is gritty.
Gritty Doc.
We got to get into it right away again because speaking of the heat, I guess tempers were flaring again at camp today. This time, between Amon-Ra St. Brown, a.k.a. Mr. 6'7", and Brian Branch, they were going at it. Dan Campbell had to stop training camp for a little bit again today, right?
Absolutely. Maybe the Lions are maybe Tigers fans and betting on the Tigers. They keep losing, so they must be pissed off or something. Something's going on. It's in the air. But look, it's great. That means football's back. It's competitive. Yes. I understand it wholeheartedly. Dan Campbell wants the team ramped up all the time. But there's a fine line, and I do think the players defensively are getting after it, which I love. They're chippy. Brian Branch is not going to back down from Amon-Ra St. Brown. And when plays are made, the defense is hooting and hollering, and they're making a lot of noise. So I had the firsthand account. I was standing right there when all these scuffles were taking place. And it's basically clutching and grabbing. It's football. No punches yet have been thrown. Nobody's slapping anybody's helmet, so that's a good sign. But it's just there's tension, there's competitiveness, and the Lions have a truly competitive bunch that talk trash to each other, and whole units are yelling and screaming at each other. It's great. And Dan Campbell, look, he definitely understands that we can't have any more injuries, and some of the play could have maybe led to some significant upper body injuries, and he shut it down. But this time, when he shut it down, that was a wrap. There was no more scuffles after his talk.
Yeah, I heard Dan on XM Satellite Radio, and I think Aiden Hudson too, like the scuffles are coming from the defense, getting after the ball a little bit. I heard Kelvin Sheppard talk about that today too. Are they still dominating training camp so far?
Yeah, they are in terms of the trash talk, in terms of they're trying to punch the ball out every single time. They're trying to get physical with each member of the offense. And I thought that Sam Laporta had a great play today, makes a catch, and Jack Campbell's trying to wrestle it out, and they're friends. And it's one of those things where Kelvin Sheppard has these guys flying to the ball. And there's a line, though, when there's just that fine line of like taking someone to the ground or being extra physical with the shots given. But every single play, Jack Campbell, Terry Arnold before the injury, they were all into it and trying to make plays. No extra yards, no free yards. And when they're out there, especially in the one-on-one drills or on run plays, there's a lot of bunched up players, and there's pushing and shoving, and tempers flare. It's great. You want to see that. But there's a line, and unfortunately, it's one of those deals where last year, you remember, the Lions got penalized a little bit for a little bit extra physicality in the way they were running their training camp practice. So Dan Campbell has to rein it in, but secretly he knows he's got a bunch of dogs out there on defense, and they're ruffling some feathers on offense. But the guy you mentioned, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and also Jameson Williams. Williams is out there hooting and hollering and cheering on Amon-Ra when he makes a play. But guys, guess what? There's a new Jameson Williams on the defense, and his name is Ahmed Hassanin. He's out there riling it up. He's definitely letting the offense know and letting his teammates know that when he makes a play, flexes, lets everybody know what's up.
Go.
Make sure you watch 61 out there when you guys go out there.
I texted brother, he got to change his number, but just real quick, I wanted to say, I guess I know obviously he has to pause practice and tell everybody calm down, but secretly I know Dan likes it because I heard Shep slip up today and said Spielman came up to him and said, I haven't seen this amount of violence in football in the last 4 years. I think they like it. And I read something about Dan Campbell starting fights for Parcells.
Absolutely. And it's one of those things where and Kelvin Sheppard was asked about it today. He was asked, like, okay, there's a fine line. You want these guys to punch the ball out, but then Dan Campbell is reining it in. He said, there's a line. And there's a clear line in regards to physicality, where you're taking your shots, how you're taking shots at these players, no tackling. And so it's one of those situations where Dan Campbell is the head of the table. He's got to make sure everything stays smooth and prevents it he probably knew at that right point, Dan Campbell's got the pulse of the team to a T perfectly out there. And he was sensing that by the time the third unit was brawling, he was like, all right, we got to slow this down. I don't want to see any injuries, because it was at that point I'm standing there, and it was to that point, it was going to be World War III out there. It was going to be a brawl. And he calmed it down to the point where he had to say, hey, let's handle business and let's make sure none of our guys get hurt here. Physical up to the line. But, tensions can get to the point where some fisticuffs could happen. And, hey, I pretty much predict that when the pads come on, there's going to be a day where these guys all go at it. They're ready. They're ready to go. And there's going to be some fights. It's going to be great to see. And, yeah, that's the makings of a tough, hard-nosed physical team. It's old school, baby. You can't handle it. Stay out of the kitchen or go to the rafters like some of the media did.
Oh, quick shot there by Doc. And you mentioned, Ahmed Hassanin, and you mentioned the pads coming on. Kelvin Sheppard said that he echoed those sentiments. He said, I can't wait, to see that kid in some pads. The pads come on tomorrow. What has he been doing so far in the first couple days that has made him stand out so much?
Yeah, high energy. Just somebody that brings it every rep. He's somebody that is clutching and grabbing. He's definitely working number 63, Mason Miller. He's around the football. On run plays, he's definitely where he needs to be. He would have blown up a couple plays in training camp had there been pads on. So when there's contact to be made, he's going to be out there. And from people that tell me how he practiced and those in the know, they say, hey, when the pads come on, and Kelvin Sheppard echoed it, they say he's relentless. He is a nonstop, high energy, high motor guy. And so I just said it. He's the JMO of the defense. He's ready to go. He wants to be the best that he can be, and he's ready to go out there and be a monster and make it difficult for any offensive lineman. And so I don't know if I told you guys, but here you go. For all those guys in the chat, write this number down. If you're out there at practice, it's probably going to happen. It's probably going to be the first fight. 61 v 59. Those guys are getting after it, and those battles are going to be fun one-on-one.
So
definitely the main event is 97 versus 58, Aiden versus Panay, but Ahmed versus those linemen, it could get physical, especially with 59 or 63. It's going to be fun out there when they get those battles. Hopefully they show them in front of the fans.
See, I think Aiden and Panay respect each other too much to come to blows, but Branch and Amon-Ra, that's my money for the first fight, to be honest with you. Based off these last 2 days.
Or Branch or JMO, they might go at it. They might, it's one of those situations where everybody wants to win, high competitiveness, and nobody wants to have a whole unit chirping at them. And the trash talk is of a very lovely variety in regards to when these guys are chirping at each other. I can't say specifically what they're saying to each other, but let's just say when great plays are made, everybody's letting each other know who's the top dog on the team. And I love the defense being chippy that way. It's coming from, clearly, started with Aaron Glenn. Now it's worked its way down to Kelvin Sheppard. The defense is trying to get after it. And unfortunately today, though, you would like to see the offense kind of be in a little bit more rhythm. Goff wasn't great today, and the offense, didn't have their best moments for sure today.
Yeah, I want before we get too far away from it, I know you talked about Jack Campbell trying to make the play on Sam Laporta. I said it with Nolan Bianchi the other day, too. I think he's coverage skills away from being a top 10 linebacker. Have you been able to notice any type of jump in that out of him?
Yeah, no doubt. Now, first and foremost, let's remind everybody Nolan definitely was probably the first one up there in the stands.
No,
I'm just kidding. I'm definitely having fun with the media out there hiding in the shade.
Well, Doc, it's in your blood. You could be out there in that heat.
It's out there. You take advantage. Be out there. We only get to see a month of football right there on the field. Take advantage. Don't hide in the shade. But I look at it and I say, when I look at the Detroit Lions, man, it's just one of those situations I'm just excited all the way around. Jack Campbell is the leader of the defense. And you have to say that, too, because eventually, whether it be this year or next, he's going to be the captain. They made him an early round pick, and he's somebody that has an affordable contract right now. He flies through the football. And always, too, when we're doing the early analysis through the first 4 days, it's not in pads. So when the pads come on, we'll know a lot more about coverage and how fast he is reading everything. But right now he's flying to the football. He looks definitely confident. And what I like about Jack, and there's different ways to view a player. You have the rah-rah guys like Terrion, who's definitely going to be into it and let Amon-Ra St. Brown know when he makes a great play. Jack's all business. It's get to the ball, punch the ball out, be competitive, and play through the whistle. and let everybody know that the defense is going to handle things. He's definitely around the football, knows what he needs to do, but that's what you expect from Jack Campbell. The best way to describe it, all business, all the time, and he ain't worried about what's being said outside. It's get after it, get better every single day. So I do think it's his defense, but you still want Alex Anzalone out there, and I hope they take care of it, because you're not winning a Super Bowl where a guy that played well for you and is a defensive captain, a locker room leader, emotional leader, is not there. It's not going to happen. So I expect that either they tell him, look, this is your last year and stop the chirping, or they give him some more guaranteed money and he's a little bit happier.
Is there a jump in his coverage skills, have you noticed, though, or is he getting burnt, or is he doing well?
Yeah, absolutely. I do think that the tight ends are the group that are doing the best. There's a lot of plays run over the middle. Jack's right around the ball there, so it's always fun to see him get right after it. Listen, you're not going to have too many linebacker v wide receiver matchups early in camp. You see a lot of stuff. Situationally, you've been seeing on the day before the day off on Wednesday, the practice Tuesday, was a lot of short situations, 3rd and 2, 3rd and 5 kind of situations. So the plays were run short. So Jack was always around the football. But the tight ends, man, those are the guys that have been the most consistent. Today, the safeties were just out of this world. Eric Hallett was competing. Dan Jackson had a 1 rep. Where I'll tell you this, Kelvin Sheppard's bringing the pressure. And Dan Jackson literally got to full speed and would have destroyed Hendon Hooker if it was a rep. And he was just getting after it. He was just running full speed. He looked good out there. Vontae Maddox, the safeties had themselves a good day, in my opinion, today. And I just hope that the calf strain of Terrion Arnold isn't too bad. If it's a couple weeks, whatever it may be, to make sure he's healthy. Look, he wasn't going to play all that much in the preseason, but he was rising pretty quickly, and it was great to see. He was making plays and making them on Amon-Ra St. Brown. So I hope that the calf strain is very, very slight. We'll find out tomorrow. We asked Dan Campbell directly. It'll be one of the early questions asked.
Are they running the 4-3 out there? Someone texted me and said there's only 2 linebackers at a time out there. Is that true?
Okay. I can't really say, hey, here's the formation. I'll just say that in regards to, the linebacking situation, it's not when someone says that they're mixing and matching, there's a lot of different looks. No, they're not just running simple base sets. They're doing a lot of different things. Safeties are up and things like that. I'll just say simply, it makes pretty much sense that the base 4-man front that you're pretty much going to see as the start is going to be Aiden Hutchinson, Tyleik Williams, DJ Reader, and Marcus Davenport. From there, you got a lot of opportunities to mix and match, and you clearly understand that Jack Campbell and Derek Barnes are going to be the leaders. You hope that the 3 men that get the opportunity are Barnes, Jack Campbell, and Alex Anzalone. So you hope that the opportunities that they can mix and match. They're trying to find different units that work with a lot of different skill sets, and I like what I'm seeing from the linebackers. They're deep, and because the defensive coordinator was a former linebacker, and Sean Dion Hamilton's a name to pay attention to. I think that when we get a chance to finally talk to him, learning about his style and things like that, the best way to put it is, if you guys heard, Dan Campbell said, we're going to figure out a way to get pressure. If we have to fabricate it, we'll figure it out. And what that really means is a lot of the pressure, I think, is going to come from the Sam linebacker spot. You're going to see Derek Barnes at the line of scrimmage quite a bit. Naturally, he does that well. Mm-hmm. So why not take advantage of it? Hopefully, it sounds like today him leaving practice was just precautionary. He should be out there pretty quickly. By all accounts, the reports are that he's okay.
Great.
But, yeah, I wish I could say, hey, this is what I'm saying. I can't say, here are the formations, because guess what?
No, you're good.
I'm gritty. But if Dan Campbell comes up to me and is like, why are you sharing our secrets, and looks at me, I'm going to be going the other way. I'm not going to phone on Dan Campbell.
Hey, Doc, Nick in the sound booth here. Wanted to ask you about the explosiveness of Aiden Hutchinson. How's he looking out there? He's currently 2nd in odds to win Defensive Player of the Year. Do you believe that is a realistic expectation for Aiden Hutchinson coming off the injury?
Yeah, my man Nick, you look like a guy covering the Tigers who've lost 8 of 9, about to face Toronto this weekend. It's going to be okay. Don't worry. We'll get you back looking fly after a winning streak here.
Appreciate you.
Soon. DPOY, absolutely. Aiden, the biggest report, naturally, is Aiden looks better than he did last year. He's flying to the football, and look, he's motivated. He knows that if he has a good season, if he doesn't get the contract now, which I think it probably most likely, if you reasonably understand contracts, he's probably just salivating, waiting for Trey Hendrickson's deal to get done, Micah Parsons, and he knows he could gamble. He could say, okay, if Micah gets 43 and Trey Hendrickson's in that neighborhood, he goes out there, has 10, 15 sacks. He knows 45 to 50 million's coming if it's not already on the table. So his money's coming, and I think he knows it. And he's out there comfortable, looking ready to go. And psychologically, you guys all know, football was taken away from him last year, and he was on a torrid pace. 7.5 sacks, still led the team even though he wasn't there. And he's done this rehab before. He's going to come back strong. He's going to be in the mix. I think that if he doesn't produce the high sack total, all that will do is the right thing to do would be to chip him, would be to kind of clutch and grab and see if you can get away with it. Marcus Davenport then will benefit, and the others will as well. But he's going to be an impact. The reason why they love Aiden Hutchinson is his motor. He's ready to go, and so far so good. It looks good. As advertised, 97 in the mix.
And another thing we've been hearing about a lot in camp, a guy who's improved, is Jamison Williams. You spoke on it yourself, but we heard him say the other day that Johnny Morton has him running more routes and a more expanded route tree. Could you touch on that? And are you seeing that out there as, the diversification of his route portfolio?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll talk on it. And if you visit our X page at Detroit Podcast, not only have I talked about Jamison Williams, I'm showing you footage of number one. Ask everybody else, why aren't you showing footage? You're allowed to. I want to bring the best coverage to the fans from the field up close, which means the closer you are, the better you are to see J-Mo flash his better hands. And look, here's the thing. I know people will equate, well, he's having the opportunity to run better routes because maybe Ben Johnson withheld him. But no, the idea is this. Ben Johnson's route tree was complicated, and it's predicated on reading and recognizing a lot of shifts and trends from the defense. And so if you're not on the right page, if there's miscommunication, then you're going to have a turnover. So now that he's more comfortable, another year in the system, definitely feeling a lot better, he's definitely a lot more comfortable to run in routes, out routes, a variety of mixes and things like that, playing off of Jared Goff. They're testing stuff out. So what that means is simple. This offense is not easy, guys. This is not something where you just show up and, hey, run a slant route. This is not Madden. This is complicated where if they believe they're single high safety, boom, there's a certain route they absolutely have to be at, and the receiver has to be at a certain spot. And Jared Goff is particular over and over. So it's an intricate, delicate offense, timing-based, but with a confident Jamison Williams, yeah, he's running more routes, flashing better hands. He looks like what a number one first-round pick wide receiver looks like. He's more confident, less drops, and there's opportunities for him to shine. He's more confident. And with experience comes confidence. And also, too, when you know that if you have a good year, over 1,000 yards and maybe 10 touchdowns, if you're the highlight guy, he's going to secure the bag over $20 million a year. So you're getting the highly motivated J-Mo, and that's why I think he's going to be buttoned up and make sure all the off-the-field nonsense is over. Money time is J-Mo time.
Yeah, I read one of those routes he ran. One of the comeback routes was on DJ Reed. Not much praise for him out of this camp. Is he holding his own there? Are these guys cutting him up?
No, he's holding his own. He's a vet, and it's quiet because he's a professional. The guys like him, Avonte Maddox, they just go out there and handle their business. Just had a kid recently, and I got a chance to speak to him actually one-on-one. And, he's somebody that's an established vet, done it all, played in New York. So he's heard all the noise, heard all the rah-rah, and now he just wants to win. And this situation is perfect for him because he sees a competitive practice. He gets to go up against J-Mo. Look, there's times there's one-on-ones, and those are intended for the receivers. And there's times where he has a chance to shine. He's done very well. I thought one of the early practices before he took family time was great. Was one of the best. He made my list. Every single day, I write down people who impress me. And one of the first people that impressed me was DJ Reed. Good footwork, definitely good press man coverage. I think can be versatile in zone as well. Nobody's getting cut up per se, but I will say this. There's times where you can see that if J-Mo wants to, there's going to be nobody in the world that can guard Jamison Williams. He can turn on the jets, and all you can do is hope to contain him. And one of those situations where if you can if you use your defensive minds wisely, if there's a guy that can cut you up, over the top safety help, and there's no better duo than Kirby Joseph and Brian Branch. Makes sense, right? If you're going to stop J-Mo, that's why I think Sam Laporta and Jahmyr Gibbs are going to definitely listen. Common sense, guys. You run JMO deep, you're going to have safety help. That's going to open up a lot of underneath stuff for Sam Laporta and Jahmyr Gibbs. They're going to cut up.
And I would be remiss if I didn't ask about the backup quarterback situation, because that's all our fans seem to care about. But has Hendon Hooker looked? I know you said he was looking better after that first day and he was getting the second team reps. Has he continued that level of play?
Yeah, I talked to Kyle Allen today, actually, and he's definitely competitive in the mix. He definitely, I'm going to get the story up probably a little bit later tonight, because I said, you know what, I have it in the bank. I was one of the rare people to talk to him. I'll come talk to you guys before I continue to write about the stuff I saw today. But today, the second team unit was led by Hendon Hooker. There was it was messy. His passes were crisp, but there was a lot of procedural stuff. And so the offense is complicated because there's motions, there's shifts, there's protections. And so the onus for him now is get to the line of scrimmage, command the offense, get everything in order. It wasn't like that today. Procedurally, there was a lot of mess, and he was getting pissed. So there were times where you didn't get a chance to see him as much because it was just messy. But when he had his chance, he's definitely delivering the ball when needed. But he just, unfortunately, when you're a young player and you're still developing and learning, it's just one of those situations where you can't wait for a perfect open route to toss the ball. Sometimes you got to lead the receiver. You got to be hoping that, and the receiver is, be willing to kind of take a little bit of risk. Hendon is definitely a little bit more cautious than I would like. I like him to be a little bit more free. If you throw an interception, throw an interception. It's practice. Sling the ball. But it's one of those situations where at times he's a little bit hesitant and he knows he can run, but the play's developed and 2, 3, 4 seconds, you're going to get popped. So he's developing. He's definitely getting better, a lot more crisp. He's bouncing between second team and third team, but Kyle Allen's going to push him. But I would be shocked if Hendon Hooker is the third string quarterback. I think the opportunity to play with Tesla and some of the tight ends, I think will provide him some opportunities, and I think that he's going to showcase just enough to say, I'm the number 2.
I agree wholeheartedly. I do want to ask a little bit real quick, if I can, about the nickel position. Is there any type of rotation going on there, or has it been solely a Meek spot outside of when second defense comes in, obviously?
Yeah. No, there's no exclusivity. Guys, training camp, when you watch, there's a lot of mixing and matching, because just look at it common sense wise. If Amik goes down, you're not going to want to have just somebody there that just has never been at that spot. So the Lions like to cross-train a lot of different spots. So there'll be times maybe you'll even see Brian Branch there. I can't say specifically like how many or things like that, but Avonte Maddox is moving around, maybe in the spot that you're talking about, and is doing some things as well. So there's opportunities for others as well. And when Ennis comes back, I do think you'll have a chance to see him in the mix as well. So they mix and match, and you've seen some different guys on the outside. Sometimes you see Amik on the outside. I do think you'll get a chance in training camp to see Ennis on the outside. I do think that what the Lions like about Avonte Maddox is veteran leader, quiet, handles business. You can put him at different spots, and he's a name to watch. Another safety. Like I said, I think Avonte's got a spot. So the 3 safety spots are there. The one left, I think, is for either Kennelly or Dan Jackson. They're going to battle it out all through camp. And but the other safeties as well made noise today. Hallett got an interception, jumped the route, and got in front of J-Mo and picked off Jared Goff. So these safeties know, and that's what's great is that's why you see such competitiveness is they know if I ball out, I have a chance, because Dan Campbell and the Lions are one of those teams, and it's very true, and I can attest to it, being there every day for the last 7 years. If you ball out, if you show the coaching staff you're competitive day in, day out, you get a job. Like Kennelly or Hallett, if they play well this preseason, they'll beat out Dan Jackson. So that's why you see such a great camp, is that the Lions reward the players that play well. So that's why you're seeing elevated play across the board, and it's great to see.
And before we let you go, Doc, I just did want this question. I know we can't tell the secrets of the Lions defense or anything like that, but we know that Aaron Glenn liked to send a lot of pressure, and he was kind of forced to because of his lack of pass rush. And Dan Campbell even spoke about that, where he said, we'll have to fabricate it if we do. Have you seen a lot of more blitzes or the same kind of thing with Aaron Glenn's defense that you're seeing with Kelvin Sheppard's, or is that toned down a little bit?
Yeah, look, very common sense kind of stuff, right? Where you saw a lot of pressure come from the defensive backs with Brian Branch and Kirby Joseph when Aaron Glenn was there, because that's his position. He understands how to put them in the right spot. Kelvin Sheppard is coming from everywhere, and it's a good sign. And so it's going to be a continuation of the defense. What that means is, and you can check all this out at Lions on SI. I've written about this because many people are wondering, where's the pressure going to come from? From the interior, Tyleek, DJ Reader, they're not known for getting a lot of pressure. So when you say fabricated, that means, okay, outside of the edges, because Aiden and Marcus are going to bring pressure, that means it's going to come from the linebackers. It's just straightforward. It's going to come from Derek Barnes, Jack Campbell. It's going to come from the safeties as well. I think that why not blitz the guy that has shown that when he blitzes, he's definitely around the football and can make plays. So you're going to bring, I'm not saying what's happening in practice, but common sense. You're going to use, at times, Brian Branch to blitz and bring pressure. You're going to have your safeties have some exotic looks. You're going to bring pressure from the linebacker spot. And I think the Sam linebacker spot presents a great opportunity to bring some pressure and be creative about it. Because from the interior, you just don't see the pressure numbers from those guys. They haven't historically done it. So I don't think that it's going to come a whole heck of a lot, at least early in the year. So when you fabricate it, it's got to come from the defensive backs or the linebackers. And so far, I would say it would be fun to be able to see what's going to happen when the pads are on and these guys start flying to the football. Yeah. It's going to be fun to watch.
Sounds like a perfect role for Zaire White to come in here, float between the secondary and the linebacker stuff. That'd be cool to close it on that one. Is that a replacement for Alex Anzalone in your opinion, or just a chess piece that Sheppard can move around?
No, he had a good year last year. Somebody to pay attention to. If it does linger, if the hamstring injury does linger, it's a body that you can have for competition. But I would like to see what Turner or Pittman do. But, guys, a name to watch, and we can wrap with this. Another dog has been added to the Lions team. 1-5. Grant Stewart is a Detroiter. That guy is made for Detroit. He grinds. He goes after it. Give him some opportunities, man. He's a special teamer, but he wants to prove he can play linebacker. He told reporters today, and excitedly, he's like, I'm going to go lift today. And they're like, he also played 1 year in Tampa with Ndamukong Suh. So he's got the Suh gene in him. And Suh told him every day is a day to get stronger. And he's like, I put it in my notes today, Grant Stewart's like, if there's a day to be strong and work out, you go work out. So he tries to work out after every practice. And he's a dog, man. And he just hit 1-5. You just watch him. He's going to be competitive and do a lot of different things, man. 1-5 is getting his name written down in the notebook quite a bit. He's an alpha, and he can do some things. So I would like to see if he can, if White does come in, see some competition there as well. But I think it's Stewart's job because the man can ball out, and I think he's going to show it in front of everybody.
Doc, I appreciate the time, brother. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Doc.
Give a shout out to the articles you got rolling out today.
Absolutely. Kyle Allen, we have the question that people want to know. How's Giovanni Manu looking? I had a reporter do a little bit of a look at kind of over the 4 days what's been going on. So we got that. I did a podcast a little bit about an hour ago looking at my reaction to today and stuff like that. So just check out Lions on SI, si.com/NFL/Lions. And the hub of the operation, you can find me directly. All the videos, the inside analysis, the tough, gritty doc on X at Detroit Podcast. Hit me up. You like what I said today? You didn't like what I said today? Let me know. We'll have a conversation. But thank you guys for having me and letting me share a little bit of time talking about the Lions. But remember, the doc is gritty. You don't hide in the shade. When the heat's rising, the doc steps up to the plate.
Hell yeah, Doc. Appreciate you.
The only man on the beat that beat the heat.
Appreciate you, Doc. Doc is the man.